The crowd was told it could watch the remainder of that night's DNC, including the Obama speeches, on a jumbotron. We're closed. The vast majority of the attendees left immediately. Whoa, that's cold.
I think this is kind of everyone. There's no organization to how the line is structured. It's kind of wild.
You think control's important in something like this?
Oh,
Whoa!
Lead with love, you're never upset.
Okay, fair enough.
Emhoff was late for his speech tonight. Apparently he was stuck in line at the abortion trailer with his two nannies.
There was a big snub that happened last night at the DNC. We see that News Nation was calling this out. The Obamas came back out to lecture us all about how amazing they are and how terrible Republicans are. But we know that somebody was not there in attendance for this little speech ceremony. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. They left town. And remember when we were watching the RNC, Trump was there every night, looking, watching everybody, laughing, coming out. He just got shot in the head. I mean, it was a wild scene. So why did Tim Walz and Kamala, why'd they leave? Because they don't like the Obamas, and the Obamas don't like them. So there was a snub underway. Here's what News Nation said.
I don't think we can underscore how unusual as it was that Kamala Harris and her running mate were not here for tonight. They weren't beamed in even watching the speech.
Didn't even care.
And I think that underscores the very deep division still between Barack Obama and Joe Biden, and that the Biden team still blames Barack Obama, and the wounds are still very raw from removing him.
Rough. So a little undertone there of division that nobody's really talking about. New York Post wrote a story about it saying that Kamala snubbed him, left. Oh, Obama's here. Okay, let's go. All right, no, it's time to leave. No, honey, it's get your stuff, get your purse. Let's go. With former President Barack Obama and his wife Michelle headlining night 2, there was an obvious snub because Kamala left Chicago and traveled to North Wisconsin to address the almost capacity arena, which was a DNC watch party. So it's just an excuse for them to get the hell out of there. Jefferson said Harris will be broadcast into TVs all over the country. Voters need to know that as Wisconsinites, they stand with her. So she just bailed. It was the sort of clap now sign. All right, attendees who were entertained by another DJ, I guess a DJ Shauna, for more than half an hour. They're bringing DJs. They brought Lil Jon out yesterday. Why was Harris in Milwaukee instead of Chicago? It's unprecedented, this move. Shows there's a deeper rift here. Yeah. It's all manufactured. A source close to the Biden family told him about the hype. Obama and Biden know she's going to lose, says someone who's close to the Biden family. The Post broke the story behind Biden's quick endorsement of Harris in defiance of Obama, who was reportedly very upset that Harris ascended to the top. Obama had told Biden, who said last month that he was dropping out in defense of democracy, to allow the delegates to decide. When Obama speaks, you listen. Biden didn't listen. It was a Joe's big FU, he said. He says, if I'm out, then I'm endorsing her. And Obama can just eat it. On DNC's second night, both Michelle and Obama spoke to attendees after delegates cast their figurative votes. Got some clips of that. In something of a surprise on Tuesday, Trump said of Obama, I happen to like him. I respect him. I respect his wife. Because Obama's not a moron, right? I think Trump understands that. Trump recognizes competence. And people mistake that for like love and infatuation or something, right? Trump comes out, he says, look, Putin's like a tough guy, all right? He's a smart guy. He's smarter than Joe Biden is and Kamala Harris or President Xi of China. He says, yeah, they're competent, capable people. They're killers, okay? They mean they're not playing around. Same thing with Barack Obama. Say what you will about the dude, but he's reshaped the entire Democratic Party into his communist little fiefdom. The enthusiastic crowd that almost filled the Fiserv Forum, whose concert capacity is 18,000, watched. The rally live stream was cut off suddenly as Walz walked out. This is where it's at, Walz said. This is joking. Democrats didn't know the real party's in Milwaukee tonight. It's kind of a snub at the other people, I guess, in Chicago. Losers. I guess only Obama was there. She said, when Congress hands her a bill making abortion legal nationally, I'll sign it into law. I mean, they can do that now. Like, they can do that right now. The Democrats are in control of the Senate. The Republicans wouldn't be for it, but the Democrats have already had both houses several times, and they didn't do it. And that's the reason, is they don't want to do it that way. They want the courts to do it because I think they know it's not something that is popular in the way that they want it to be implemented. So in one final snub to the Obamas, attendees were sent outside after Harris and Walz left the stage. Get out. The crowd was told it could watch the remainder of that night's DNC, including the Obama speeches, on a jumbotron. We're closed. The vast majority of the attendees left immediately. Whoa, that's cold. Well, can we just stay here for like an extra hour? We're already here. There's already a giant party going on. Can we just watch the Obamas? No, it's close. That's petty, right? Super petty. Just to throw them out. It's like your friends. They're like, well, you know, it's like, hey, well, my Uber's not going to be here for like 30 minutes. Do you think I can just like sit on your couch until my Uber's here? No, get out, get outside. But it's like freezing out. No, go sit on the curb and vote for me. Also, don't forget I love you. Brutal. So, you know, Democrats, they have a little bit of a problem there. And Walz is turning out to just be a big total liar.
Vice President Harris's running mate Tim Walz is
I definitely watched it
tomorrow night. The campaign is having to clean up some comments he's made about one of the campaign signature issues having to do with reproductive rights. This is what Governor Walz said on MSNBC while criticizing J.D. Vance. Take a listen.
J.D. Vance knows nothing about that. And then he keeps going into all of these things. Today's IVF day. Thank God for IVF. My wife and I have 2 beautiful children.
Wow. Thank God for IVF.
Now, that's not accurate, right? I mean, it wasn't IVF. It was a different procedure. And his wife, Gwen Walz, the First Lady of Minnesota, is taking care to tell CNN that they actually used a procedure called intrauterine insemination. IUI. It's a process she described as an incredibly personal and difficult experience. They did use fertility treatments. It wasn't IVF.
Any woman
Come here, Sergeant Major.
I'm sorry.
Hold on. I want to...
Any one of the 1 in 7 women who goes through fertility treatments, IUI is part of the suite of fertility treatments. It's a step below IVF.
Close enough.
It's direct insemination versus creating embryos. I think that is a stretch to say that it's not part of the broader fertility treatment.
The way they explain it is he just talks like how regular people talk.
I mean, my husband wouldn't know the difference.
First of all, my wife did IUI not once but twice, and then we did IVF not once but twice, trying to have a child. And
Different
so, as
things,
a father of IVF babies or whatever, yes, I would call. I mean,
you're not winning if you're making.
You would what? You would say it's the same thing?
I would just, as a man, I would probably mess that up.
Look, guys, this is a head scratcher.
Yeah, but why clean it up?
Just have your facts right as you come
There,
out. You're going to
that's
tell
the
the
point.
story. It opens up an opportunity for them to now have to, try and bury a
that's
cleanup in their convention week in the
but we will have this discussion with J.D. Vance and Donald Trump any day of the week. I mean, I get it. It was inartful. It was not accurate. It was not accurate.
Well, the distinction is IVF or IUI is not under attack anywhere the way IVF is, but
Yeah, that's why you want to make them be the same thing.
part of the suite of options. Most people begin with one and go to the other.
We're glad that he has 2 kids. It's also important for politicians to be accurate. Thanks to everyone.
It is. And when you have inaccuracy after inaccuracy after inaccuracy, you start to ask, oh, maybe they're just a liar. Yeah, that might be the thing. And this is also another lie. So they're going to call these gaffes now, right? These are just gaffe factories. Oh, he's just like Joe Biden, right? We made that comparison. We're like, well, he's kind of like Joe Biden. He has the same shtick. He comes out, he talks fast. He says a lot of government lingo, where he kind of speaks that bureau techno-babble talk that you often hear from the politicians out of Washington. And so why wouldn't he lie, right? I can't wait to see some plagiarism, right? That'll probably be the next thing that comes out. He plagiarized something, his, football plays or his educational syllabus, who knows? But here's another one. So his own words are tripping him up. To close observers back home, the tendency to misspeak may sound familiar or make inaccurate or inconsistent statements or, lie. But Walz's rise from a largely under the radar governor to now has intensified scrutiny. All right, this week, Walz said that their efforts to start a family were not aided by IVF, as previous statements and coverage had already indicated. Also said that he carried weapons of war in war. Never did. Hung out in Italy. He also faced fresh news cycle over false statements about his DUI, which they said was due to artillery fire blowing out his eardrums or something, so he couldn't hear the cops. Was never drunk at all. Turns out he was, going 95 and a 55 or whatever. The campaign also has since now updated online references to his rank, saying that he misspoke at a 2018 event where he said carried weapons of war. DUI and now IVF scandal. Walz was using commonly understood shorthand for fertility treatments. No, that's not true, right? IVF is a whole different ballgame. In the midst of 2020, now here's some more, when there was the peaceful but mostly fiery protests, uprising over the police killing over Floyd, Walz was one of several lawmakers who had to walk back other unsubstantiated claims of the vast majority of the looting and burning was done for people outside of Minnesota, right? These aren't our people. No, not true. Arrest records suggested that 80% of the people, he said, were from outside Minnesota. No, that's false. Not true. Made that stat up. When asked in a 2022 interview about the impact of pandemic closures on kids who were in schools, he said over 80% of our students miss less than 10 days of in-class learning. Okay, 10 days. In reality, no. The across-the-board school closures lasted from mid-March 2020 to June. Months. Many remained in remote learning well into 2021. Okay. okay? So like a year, not 10 days. After GOP outrage at the comment, his office clarified he was referencing, just one single school year, 2021 to 2022, which is after the pandemic. So then in March, this goes on, in March of 2022, he also told Axios that his office would soon release a COVID after action report. We did such a good job, we're going to release an after action report, which is going to be a playbook for future administrations and for future Minnesotans. And so the news followed up and said, hey, can we get a copy of that? Like several months later, they said, oh, no, like there isn't like a specific document. He was just riffing. Now in May of this year, here's another one. He told reporters that he had been texting late into the night about an infrastructure spending deal. I was texting all night about that. When Axios asked for copies of the state's public records under the public records law for copies of those texts, his spokesman said that the governor misspoke and that those text messages didn't exist. Isn't that convenient? So why don't they exist? So he misspoke, or is he a liar? Or maybe we should just see what all of his texts from that night. Former President Trump is such a fountain of exaggerations, they say, that there have been entire fact-checking operations built against him. Yeah, and they even make up fake facts. That's how extensive it is. But they're just saying Walz is misspeaking. These are gaffes. These are lies, right, about his actual public service. I was texting everybody about those. Okay, well, we should get copies of those under the public records law. Can we see yours? Oops, what we meant is we didn't save them, we deleted them, or that didn't actually happen, so he's a liar. Either way, one after the other, it never ends. Now, numbers are down for the DNC, 22% down from 2016 when Hillary was running. Here's the story from Axios saying that the Republican convention was also down, so maybe people are just kind of checked out from this stuff. But Monday marked Biden's final convention. There were 19.1 million viewers watching the DNC live from 11:30 to 12:30 when they snubbed him big time, threw him out the window. The event was carried live on 13 cable stations. It was on the media, all over the live stream tubes. The first night of the DNC had more viewers than the first 3 nights of the RNC, which drew 18.13, 14.81. And are they counting the internet streams? I'm not sure if those are making their way into the numbers. But the big picture, like the RNC and every other major live political TV event, the vast majority of voters who watch the convention live were over the age of 55. DNC is trying to push it to other audiences, TikTok and so on, and they granted special access to a bunch of social media content creators. So yeah, big numbers still, big numbers. And it looks like they're more or less on par with the Republican numbers in terms of the overall numbers. Looks like maybe 1 million more for the left. And I don't know if it's being syndicated as aggressively on the cables as it is, if the syndication between the two RNC and the DNC is as aggressive between the two. But yeah, numbers are about the same and still down from 2016. So the energy is down regardless. And if Kamala is so exciting, shouldn't you expect her numbers to be like Obama-esque numbers? And they're not really. There's just not that much enthusiasm. Probably because they're just obsessed with Trump. Carly Bonnie clipped this one. And you can see it's just Trump all day, all the time. Here's what it sounded like yesterday.
Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump,
Donald Trump, Donald Trump,
Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump,
Donald Trump.
Non-stop, just Donald Trump. That's all they can talk about. And Obama came out yesterday, and man, Van Jones felt a thrill up his leg or something. Here's what he said.
Michelle Obama's speech was probably the most effective, powerful political speech I've ever heard.
Wow, he got a thrill too. Wow.
It was rather remarkable.
I didn't know how much I missed them. Biden did something important last night, and he transferred the machinery of the party to Kamala Harris. The Obamas...
you guys stole it.
...renewed the magic of the movement. That's what they were transferring. And they did it beautifully. They did it powerfully. Obama used nostalgia in a beautiful way.
He had dick jokes there, dude. I don't know what you're talking about. He was doing dick jokes out there, okay? For the guy who's like above the fray, the adult in the room, he's been diminished to coming out and talking about penises. That's the party. Obsessed with genitals, thrilled with genital jokes. And both Anderson and Van Jones, they must have loved that. I mean, wow. Anderson's like, penis jokes, my favorite. Wow, outstanding. So, all right, here is what it looked like outside. We'll poke around and see what some of these protests look like. Things got a little spicy there yesterday as well. But here is Michael Tracy. He's there on scene, and he says it's just a total mess outside, right? So the logistics of the party responsible for the collapsing supply chains, collapsing border, collapsing global peace, collapsing dollar, all the things, are now in charge of getting a bunch of people into a building. They can't even manage that. Here's this report.
Okay, so I'm legitimately shocked at how catastrophically bad the logistics are of the Democratic convention. This vantage point does not even capture the full scope of the disaster. There are people who've been waiting on this line, which snakes like all the way down that way and then all the way down this way for blocks and blocks and blocks for hours and hours and hours. There's zero organization. Everybody who we talk to comments on how insane this is and how they've never seen anything that has been worse organized.
Well, it's Democrats, yeah.
Convention or otherwise. I mean, it really is unbelievable.
I don't know who's in charge of this whole security, but they should put them down at the southern border is what I'm thinking. Just send them down. As soon as they're done, just be like, hey, you guys are great. Can you handle our immigration? Like 2,000 miles or so, give or take? No one is coming in.
What is it now, like 8:30 or something? Yeah, and like, I mean, I strongly doubt that for very many, if any of these people end up getting to the convention, this does not do justice to how far this line stretches. And I say that just to underscore how badly this was ordered. I mean, they have one entrance for everyone. Look, so you can see, and then that snakes around the whole other side, and there's a whole other end of this on the opposite end of the entrance. They have over a year to organize these things.
Yikes.
Have you ever seen a worse organized event? Have you ever seen a worse organized event than this?
Freedom in action. I love it. I'm Canadian. I came down.
Oh, okay.
Freedom
well, that
in
guy has an
action.
alternate view, I guess.
So he's in,
but a lot of the people
he's Canadian, so
are
they're
somewhat
happy
upset
about
about
everything.
this. So I think this is kind of everyone. There's no organization to how the line is structured. It's kind of wild.
You think control's important in something like this?
Oh, gosh.
Whoa.
Lead with love, you're never upset.
Okay, fair enough.
Lead with love, you're never upset. All right, that dude's from Canada for sure. Shout out to our Canadian friends. Just lead with love, man. Everything will be fine, okay? You'll just get in when you get in. And if you don't, you don't. And if your country falls apart, it's no big deal. Just lead with love and everything will be fine. What a way to live, huh? All right, talking about leading with love, here is what it looked like elsewhere, where the cops were just totally surrounding all of the protesters who sound like they were peaceful. Others were clearly not. Now, this was an interesting one because what happened here is the cop just invites this man to be arrested. And if you want to not be arrested, you know, you don't really accept an invitation like this. This is not ideal, but I mean, for this man, but for the cops, it was quite easy. Here's how this one played out. So come on over. Come over. Okay. Come over. I'm going to arrest you. Come here. Okay, perfect. You're going to jail now. Thanks. All right. And he got scooped up by the popo. They're not playing around. Not playing around.
Did they get anyone? They took one of them. They took one of them.
Woo. Okay, so they're not playing around, okay? There's not going to be any interference with the Democrats' propaganda charade. Here is from OSINT Defender. He says that the police have surrounded the Palestinian demonstrators, totally encircled, all right? So you can see, here's what it looks like. This looks like drone footage. No audio on this one. But here are the protesters, cops, like they're not playing around. When they want control over crowds, they can get control over crowds. When they want stuff to pop off, stuff pops off. So for example, when they want riots in the Capitol building, well, they know how to make that happen. When they do not want riots on the streets of Chicago, they know how to prevent them from happening. It's very interesting, right? They're capable. So when you see January 6th, and when you see the most secure building in the entire world get ransacked, it's because they wanted it to happen, right? They know how to control crowds. Here was another scene from these very nice, peaceful protesters, post-millennial. Clip this one. You can see they're just burning some flags, and they're going to throw an American flag right on there for good measure. That guy is going to save it because he loves his country. Shout out to that hero right there. And then these little, I guess, I don't know what they are, communists or I don't know what they are. Hard to identify. But they don't like America, that's for sure. So they're burning America's flag. And they're getting into it out there. Things are getting spicy. I don't know who that gentleman was, but shout out to that guy. And they're burning flags. Antifa, is that who we think this is? So we're curious, you know, if their FBI will look into them as domestic violent extremists. Remember, that was the big thing. Racially motivated violent extremists. Homegrown domestic violent extremists, right? That little guy. Bad dude right there. Bad dude. So, of course, they'll all put their face masks on and they'll hide behind their masks like little cowards because that's what they are. And there's a bunch of people there supporting them. We'll see if the FBI gets involved in that because it seems like a threat against the homeland, right? If you're burning the flag, it's like, wow, gosh, that seems kind of like a violent act. It's like death to America kind of a thing. Here was more fighting between Antifa rioters, Chicago police downtown. What does Antifa stand for? What are they so upset about? I thought that they were upset with fascist Trump. Well, fascist Trump is not in charge anymore. So are they upset with fascist Kamala? Or are they just upset with government in general? Is everybody a fascist? What are they doing? All right, so you can see some more violence. It's like bumps and bruises, really. People kind of bumping each other. All right, that's fine. Now, there was some interesting stuff happening. This White Dudes for Harris group, which I think is a racist white supremacist group, as far as I can tell. Because if you did anything else, white dudes for anything, white dudes for Trump or something, they'd say, wow, that's, FBI would definitely be all over that if you did white dudes for Trump. But White Dudes for Harris, which is like a weird thing. Anyways, MAGA World trolls are wearing fake White Dudes for Harris shirts at the convention center. Oh no. You know who did that? They're likely recording so that they can crop videos and try to embarrass Democrats. It's actually not that hard to do that. Don't have to try that hard. Just have to record them and then play it. Be careful who you talk to and what you say. Don't let these dirty tactics undermine our work to elect Kamala Harris. And do you know who might be one of those individuals who's making these appearances? This person right here. Who is this person? Caught in the DNC. Kamala Harris for president. Oh no. Who is that? I don't know who it is. Hopefully they root out this insurrector who's insurrecting the DNC with his love for America. All right, so that was Matt Walsh, obviously, if you missed it. But a lot of people there taking on different identities and pronouns and stuff. Libs at TikTok clipped this one. Just had a man dressed up as a woman announce the delegates. Oh, we don't know what this person's gender is. Let's see how they identify themselves. Let's see.
My name is Dr. Joey Perella, pronouns she, her, hers. I'm a proud resident of the Garden State. I'm proud to stand with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz because they stand with the LGBTQ community.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. LGBTQ? What about all the other alphabet letters?
It's time to turn the page on Trump first. Thank you.
What? It's time to turn the page on Trump for what?
Time to turn the page on Trump first. Thank you.
Wow. All right. Garden State. That's New Jersey's representative. All right. So now what else is happening there in this really interesting event? Drive-through abortions, as we talked about. So here, people I think are maybe keeping count now. So Savannah Hernandez is there. Says, I'm currently outside the Planned Parenthood drive-through mobile health clinic where they have drive-through abortions that patients are actively walking in and out of. So far, I've watched one male patient get snipped or maybe have an abortion. I don't know now. And 3 female patients enter the truck. Patients pre-registered to receive abortion pills or vasectomies with Planned Parenthood, filling up every appointment slot. So they're just nuking babies. Now, I tried to interview a patient as she left, but I was quickly stopped by the Planned Parenthood staffers. Yeah, and, you know, the feds get real agitated about, you know, interference with abortions. They charge people for it. Wow, they've got big IUD devices there. Wow, what a great culture this is. These people stand for big plastic IUDs, I think is what you call them, right? All right, so Greg Gutfield had a good zinger on this. Doug Emhoff, of course, was late, and Doug in his first marriage before he was married to Kamala, I think they were set up by some other attorney and weird, you know, little power couple thing was set up to, you know, do whatever. When he was married to his first wife, they got a divorce because he made bang bang with the nanny. Not supposed to do that.
Emhoff was late for his speech tonight. Apparently he was stuck in line at the abortion trailer with his 2 nannies. So mean here.
Well, maybe that's why they brought him there, so they could just take him through like on a merry-go-round, just abortion after abortion, because that's what they stand for. That's what they care about. Now, here is Mary Catherine Ham. We're wondering, are we actually going to hear from Kamala at all? I mean, the media has been hyperventilating over Trump and just hysterical with joy. Hysterical. With joy over Kamala Harris. You can see 84% positive coverage for her and 89% negative for Trump. Not a surprise at all.
That's what we'd like, right? We'd like critical of both because I want to learn about both candidates. Just to level set, I'm at the DNC for longer than Biden, and in the last 2 days, I've taken more questions than Harris. So I feel like she should be ahead of me in this way. But look, arguably the press should be more critical of her because she got into the race so late. She is very undefined. When you interview independent voters, they say, we don't know her that well. So we should find out about her. Just a few minutes ago, or an hour ago, she released a statement from a spokesperson saying she would oppose getting back into the Iran nuclear deal. Well, I would like to hear what the reasoning is. I'd like to hear it from her. And we're getting a lot of these spokesperson denials that sort of take her off the record from how she ran for president, the same job in 2019, and what she did in office. And I want to know what the next step looks like for her.
Yeah, well, she's by design avoiding those definitions so she can continue to just be whatever she wants to everybody. So here's Chuck Schumer, who came out with some moves, as you can see yesterday. You know, it's not bad. I mean, honestly, like, I really can't. I don't know that I would look any better, to be quite frank with you.